What's up, YouTube? This is GroudonEmpire, and I am back with another episode of Route Global 1000, episode 36. In today's episode, we are going to face an opponent who has 1849 points, and our points are 1822. So yes, we are finally above 1800. Actually, guys, I don't know if this is actually episode 36 or if it's 37, because if I remember correctly, I think I started to record for Lumio Station when I was at 1790, and that one is not actually part of a series of when I actually started recording later for Lumio Station. Like, once I reached 1800 again, I started recording for Lumio Station primarily for, like, forget about Route Global 1000. But if, I also did it like as if my commentary was if I was also doing it for Route Global 1000. So this is probably episode 37 or something. I don't know. You know what? Scratch the episode number. At this point, you just look at the title. Whatever I said, scratch that. And yeah, so we'll look at our opponent's team. And from right now, you're gonna look at 2 minutes from here, and we are going to start our number countdown. So 2 minutes from now. So we see our opponent's team. They have a Landorus. They have a Breloom. This is a very standard team. So I'm thankful because it's very standard, because I have experience versus very standard teams. This is basically the standard team. This is the archetype for battle spot single, X and Y at least. So just replace the Azumarill with the Suicune, but really any bulk of the viable water types belongs there. So Azumarill or Suicune. So in this case, you see Azumarill. So I see Breloom, I see a Gengar, and I see a Landorus. Now, I know Gengar is going to be Mega Gengar, but still, I think it's going to be Sash or whatever. Breloom is Sash and whatever. So I know I want Stealth Rock right from the get-go, just because Breloom is Sashed. But when I think about it more, I realize Breloom is Sashed, but then think about Cresselia, think about Heatran. I can use Reuniclus. Reuniclus can party on this team. And if I'm going to do that, I don't need Stealth Rock that bad. So then I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, I don't need to bring the Kangaskhan lead. But forget about that. Usually the opponent will lead with a Landorus or a Breloom or something. So what if I lead with Kangaskhan? Kangaskhan can one-shot both of them. And it can deal with Cress. And it's awesome too, So I'm going to end up starting off with Kangaskhan, and I'm going to end up having Reuniclus with me. And the last Pokemon I'm going to have is going to be Zapdos, just to deal with any loose ends. And I believe all of that was in 2 minutes. I don't bring the Blaziken because there's a Heatran, and there's a Landorus, and there's an Azumarill, and a Cresselia, so I don't bring it. And I don't bring... so I'm going to just press play. I'm going, and I don't bring the other Pokemon for what's on my team. Azumarill. I don't bring Azumarill because there's a Breloom, and then there's a whatever. Like, I don't know. I find it hard to set up, and plus Zapdos can clean up. Like, Zapdos is an amazing cleanup Pokemon, so that's why I am actually. So as you can see, I start off with the Kangaskhan, and my opponent starts off with the Landorus. And I just start off and I go for the Ice Beam because it's a one-hit KO, and if it switches out into something, potentially freeze, so it's a good time. And so I brought Zapdos as the last Pokemon because it really cleans up versus the Landorus, and we get the freeze. Awesome. It helps us amazingly. And next turn I use Shadow Ball. The opponent is frozen. So we are in fantastic shape. We don't know if it counts yet because they might thaw first turn. And my opponent does thaw first turn indeed. So that freeze did not matter. So anyone that wants to shout hacks, 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 it does not matter because they unthawed. First turn they unthawed. So that's great. They go for the T-Wave. We're paralyzed. We might get Power Hacks now. We don't get Power Hacks, so that's awesome. We go for Shadow Ball. So that's great, awesome. Do they even get special D drops? No special D drops. But we got first Ice Beam froze. So Hacks is very fair, I guess. Special D drops would be awesome, but he realizes that special defense whatever is annoying, and he switches out. And on this next turn that he switches out, I get paralyzed, fully paralyzed. So I basically get a free turn of switching. This turn I use Ice Beam because, I mean, if I don't get parried, then I can destroy this thing. And this thing is not even sashed, so that leads me to believe that it's Choice Scarfed. We saw Landorus and we saw Heatran, not Heatran, we saw Cresselia, so the last Pokemon is probably Mega Gengar. Most likely. I go into Reuniclus right now when the Cresselia comes out in front of my face. And right now, I'm just going to go for the Calm Mind. Because if there is a Gengar at +1, it's not going to one-hit KO me unless it gets a crit. And I can just kill it with Psyshock. However, the problem here is, then what am I going to do versus Cresselia, you know, at the end? Because if I get parried and die with Kangaskhan, then what am I going to do? Then I'm done. The reason I'm saying that is because Gengar right now is not going to go for Shadow Ball. Gengar right now knows that at +1 Reuniclus is going to survive, so it's going to use Destiny Bond and it's going to take me out. And I know this too, but I mean I have to do something about one of these Pokemon, you know? So Reuniclus has to go down, but it's not going to go down without taking this thing down, right? So it goes down to Destiny Bond. Now the rest of the game is basically, am I going to get Parahaxed before I can do what I need to do versus the Cresselia or not? That's what it's up to. Kangaskhan needs to get special defense drops. If it can get special defense drops, the recipient who can take advantage of that is Zapdos. So for anyone wondering why as I was talking about earlier, because I didn't get time to explain why Zapdos, and usually on the live commentary I don't explain either. Most of it is in my head. The reason I'm using Zapdos instead of another Pokemon at the end, like instead of like a Azumarill or something, or a Garchomp or whatever, is because, and right now we're going to see Moonlight and Shadow Ball Wars, so you guys can see what's going to happen, and you guys can whatever. The reason I brought Zapdos is because Zapdos can pressure and we finally got a special defense drop, so if there's nothing else we got the special defense drop, and now Zapdos can Thunderbolt away. Zapdos versus Cresselia, unless it's toxic, stands a very good chance of winning. Again, if I don't get toxic and if I don't get freezed to death, I can pressure stall it, and especially in this situation, if I get special D drops, I definitely have an advantage because Thunderbolt does more damage. Mine is not PP maxed, so I actually can't PP stall this thing with pressure. So, but Azumarill, Thunderbolt, Breloom, Heat Wave after Rock. Well, if I needed rocks, whatever. So I can't really, now finally Kangaskhan goes down, but not before the special defense drop, and now Zapdos can Thunderbolt. And now you guys will just see what's going to happen. I'm going to have to pay attention a lot. I use the Thunderbolt this turn, while the Cresselia loses HP, and it uses the Ice Beam on me. And every single turn, I'm calculating how much damage that the Ice Beam is doing to me. So this is not something I can speak about post-game commentary, but basically I use the Thunderbolt. We do get the Para. You know, right now we're going to have war. We're going to have a war where we constantly attack each other. So honestly, Para's going to come eventually, you know, and the Freeze is going to come eventually. So it's really a matter of who gets the unlucky hacks. Right now my opponent didn't get unlucky hacks, so it doesn't matter. And as you see, my opponent again doesn't get hacked, so it doesn't matter. Now, for example, on the turn that I have to roost if I get frozen, that's unlucky hacks, you know? But so that's what I mean by unlucky hacks. Hacks right now just doesn't matter unless it's unlucky hacks, like super like critical, like hacks that matters. So right now if I got frozen, it would be good game because I can't roost and now I'm in trouble. So right now I roost up and it's good, it's all nice. Next, and my opponent gets parried this turn. It doesn't really matter because I roosted. This turn I Thunderbolt because I calculated that I can take another 2 Ice Beams. So and my opponent Moonlights, after the next Ice Beam, I will end up roosting, or I might just go for double Thunderbolt at this point if my opponent doesn't opt to Moonlight again. When I'm pretty sure my opponent will Moonlight, but my opponent gets paralyzed. You can argue that my opponent forfeits. You can argue that my opponent was the victim of hacks, but honestly speaking, again, if you think about it critically, hacks can come. You know, the para, like, how much Moonlight did it use in front of me? It used Moonlight 3 times. That means it lost like 6, because each time it uses Moonlight, it loses multiple PP. So if you count all the PP that the Moonlight was used, and Moonlight only has a maximum of 8 PP, you can only use it 4 times max in front of Zapdos. So you can't Moonlight forever in front of Zapdos. And that's what I was saying earlier. If you don't have Toxic and you don't get freeze hacks, Zapdos can 1v1 a Cresselia as long as Zapdos has the PP. Like PP maxed. As long as you're PP maxed, you can outdo Cresselia. That's what I was trying to say. And that's one of the reasons why I picked Zapdos, other than the fact that it can take down Azumarill reliably, and just all these other fancy stuff. Reuniclus was supposed to handle Breloom, Cresselia, and Heatran, whereas Zapdos can clean up. It takes on Azumarill perfectly. It can clean up versus the Gengar or the Landorus or anything for that matter. Whereas Blaziken would become an issue, as I told you earlier. And Garchomp, it has a sash. That's nice, but as you guys saw in this situation, you know, that's exactly why I brought Zapdos. Overall, as a cleanup Pokemon, it does the best job versus this particular team. So I hope you guys understood this episode and why I did certain things that I did and enjoyed it and learned. You know, this is an episode that you really had to learn from my team decision making, because I lost games like this earlier. If you go back to episode 23, I used the same team, but I ended up losing because I made terrible decisions. So I learned from those games. You know, it was a lot of games I ended up playing, but I learned from them. And this is a cultivation. This is a result of what I've learned and what kind of decisions I'm making. That I'm using better decisions, all that good stuff. And yeah, I hope you guys learned and enjoyed. And if you like this video, click that like button. It helps me a lot. And if you like it, you know, it's great. You know, you already like the video, so might as well click the button that says like, right? And if you like the content on this channel, subscribe so you know whenever I'm going to upload future stuff. And if you are not feeling like subscribing, maybe you should check out the other stuff on this channel and maybe you'll feel like it. I am definitely going to upload Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, ORAS League, Battle Spot stuff, and I am telling you right now, if I dare say it myself, if you want high-level Battle Spot single stuff, I'll definitely do other formats that I'll try to learn and get better at. But if you are especially interested in high-level single, with different kind of team combinations, whatever you guys want, whatever you leave in the comments, you know, this is the place for you. You know, high level, you know, competitive teams, even if I need a creative whatever, you know, I have the skill to be a high level player, so you can see different stuff. And for other formats in Battle Spot, you can see me learning those different formats, and you can learn it with me as I play those formats in the future. So that's going to be awesome. This is GroudonEmpire. Peace out.